Yeah, just let me know like when I can start.
Yep, I'll let you know. All right, I think in the interest of time, people I think will keep joining in the next couple of minutes, but let's get started. So, hey everyone, welcome to the first workshop we have today for Eat for All. And today we are going to be talking about Biconomy, and we have Yash with us, who's a full stack developer at Biconomy, and we'll be talking about how Biconomy SDK leverages account abstraction, and that is what sort of helps you improve the UX of your dApp. So when it comes to judging, people will be the judges would be using your dApps. You want to make sure that you give them the best possible experience, so that they go through your dApp end to end. And without further ado, I'll hand it over to Yash. Yash, you can.
Thanks. Like first of all, thanks Defolio for having me here. Like it's a great opportunity interacting and talking to everyone. Hi guys, like I'm Yashasvi, my friends call me Yash, and I'm a full stack developer here at Biconomy. For the past 2.5 years, like I've been working with Biconomy, like right when once they started off in like 2020. So I've been like working on various tech stacks like front end, back end on the blockchain side, and like mostly like across all the products that we have. And yeah, so I'll get started. Like I have a presentation like on that. Yep. Yeah. So first of all, I'll talk a bit about like Biconomy, like what we do, like where we come from, and like what problem statements and like the mission we have. In general, like from the start, like for the past 3 years, like we have been trying to solve like the UX issue, the onboarding issue, and making it easier for like any user who comes on to like adapt, and like it's easy for the interaction for them. Like they don't have to like kind of go through the hassle of buying ETH, like doing the transaction, seeing like if the transaction is get succeeded or not, like all that kind of tough tasks that like in a general Web2 world you don't face, like which are there in Web3 world, we kind of abstract away in that sense. And like we have like for the past 3 years like running gasless product, which is like the most famous, and the one thing we are known for is like dApps like come on board, like they want to sponsor transactions for the users. So what they do is like they have this abstraction mechanism in place that we have, where there are we as like reliers pay for the gas, and the dApp in general pays us back. So the user does not have to hold any ETH, Matic, or whatever native asset of that chain they are interacting with. So that's something that we have been like known for in the market for a long time. Then like when the cross-chain world came into the picture, the dApps and users became cross-chain. There were a lot of chains like Arbitrum, Optimism, and like various L2s and some L1s. So all that kind of it was tough to like kind of go from one chain to the other because you had assets on like 5 chains, but you didn't have like a proper way or a fast way or even a cheap way to go ahead like and do that transaction like from one to another. So you have some USDC on, let's say, Optimism, you have some USDC on Polygon, but it was very tough. You had to go to wire routes, and like it was a slow process, and like transactions used to get stuck, and all that hassle that was there with cross-chain transactions. So we came up with Hyphen, which is a cross-chain bridge. And like over the period of time, we realized that it was slightly tough for us to kind of manage 2 different products. Those both of them were solving similar issues. It was around making it easy for the user and for the dApps to like onboard their users. So we came up with this idea that we should have like one unified SDK and like have all those features built in. So, and we are doing this like with account abstraction. So account abstraction is not a new concept. It's been around for a long time. Many applications and protocols and a lot of EIPs have been published around account abstraction, but recently it has gained momentum with the ERC 4337, where you can abstract away all the like complexities of the blockchain from the user and like provide a very nice UX to it. I'll get started. Yeah, as I mentioned, like we have like always been aiming at like the user should like stick to the product, stick to the dApp. And in that, like we have to aim for mass adoption. And with that, like that's only possible if we kind of have like remove these complexities. Like the user should not like just sit on the MetaMask and like wait for the transaction to get confirmed, wait for adjusting the gas prices here and there, like wait, like okay, if the transaction gets stuck, what to do, like reloading the Explorer and all that stuff. Like that should not be something that the user should take care of. It should be like abstracted away. So that's like what our like aim has been. And like as I mentioned, like we have been powering like a lot of transactions with our Biconomy relays. And it's like the way like users can not hold assets in their account. Like they don't have to go to a centralized exchange, do their KYC, wait for 2 days, then get some Matic ETH, then go to a dApp and do all those transactions. So all that like, and obviously like if you submit a transaction, it's pretty tough to like, let's say it does not get confirmed for some time, like you get that anxiety of, okay, like what happens now and all that stuff. So we kind of remove away all the hassle so that the user stays, user does not get afraid of like, okay, what's blockchain and all that, because when a Web2 user who's coming to Web3, it's already a lot for them, like what's like going behind the scenes, is it safe, is it not, and all that stuff. So that's like what like we have always aimed for. And we also realize like there are a lot of like lots and lots of steps that are involved in these processes. Let's say like you're going to a normal dApp, and let's say you want to do some cross-chain mechanism, like you are transferring funds like from one chain to another. So what all you do, like basically you have this connect wallet thing. You have like you go to that bridge, you sign the transaction, you sign like for that contract approval on that bridge. You like have to buy maybe Matic for that, and like then you change the RPC like for the destination bridge, then you again do that entire process, and like that's like a long process, and it's not like you always like know what the steps are. You'll have to kind of be intuitive about it, and like it's a big hassle, and users like kind of drop off at like step 2, step 3. Like users won't wait for like so many steps to happen, and it's just not good UX. And like that's what we like kind of want, that the users should not be facing these issues. It like for them it should be like a simple process, like as easy as Web2, like as easy as like maybe signing with their Google, Gmail, Facebook account or whatever, and doing the transactions on the go. Like they should not be like waiting for the pop-up of MetaMask and all that stuff. Like they should just go to the dApp, they should connect wallet, click buy, sign that transaction, and done. Like they should have that NFT in their account. Like, and all this gets possible with account abstraction. It is the key to solving the UX problems that we face in Web3 today and for a long time in the future. And because we have always that infrastructure, the relay infra, we have Hyphen, which is the cross-chain bridge. So, and we already had smart accounts to which can kind of plug and play, and you can write any logic over them to like enable kind of these features easily. So yeah, so how it happens basically. So there's a concept of smart accounts, which are nothing but smart contract wallets. You can think of smart contract wallets as your like arbitrary contract with some like specific logic that can be implemented. So those wallets, be it like can be, you must have heard of Gnosis Safe, um, Argent, and all these wallets that are there. So all these wallets help you like do extra functionality. You can hold assets in them, you can do various kind of stuff, because in a smart contract you can basically write any arbitrary logic, and using those, like having that secure signature schemes, secure login features, recovery features of your key. So all that kind of gets embedded inside those wallets, and using those wallets you can like do a lot of stuff that you can't like simply do with your normal MetaMask account, which I'll refer to as an EOA, an externally owned account. So all the EOAs are not that powerful. You can't execute arbitrary logic inside an EOA. You have to have a smart account, like a smart contract in place, and like having funds in the smart account like helps you enable all these features. And like kind of account abstraction is built on the concept of smart account wallets. So in that, like you can have like various abstraction by just writing the code in a way that these things are possible. I'll skip this video, but yeah,
Yes, there is no audio.
Okay. Never mind, I'll just then skip this. I thought it would not be audio, but it's okay. Just a sec. Yeah, so I'll just talk a bit more about account abstraction, like what it does, like how it is built out, and like what all features it's there. So account abstraction is something that Vitalik and the core Ethereum Foundation has been pushing for some time, specifically EIB 4337. It's kind of an implementation where it won't require like consensus changes like directly on the Ethereum itself. It's kind of a layer on top of Ethereum, on and on the other chains also, where you can have some smart contracts that would handle the logic for it. And the various things that can happen is like key abstraction, like you don't need your like that single private key to control all your funds. Like you can have like multi-sig mechanisms, social recoveries, where you can have multiple owners of your account, not just like one. Let's say you can have three keys. One is your primary key, like one you can safely secure, one can be in your phone or something like that, so that it's not the case that if you lose one key, like you lose all your funds. So that kind of abstraction has to kick in at some point, because it's not good UX to have like just one key at all times and like focus like securing it too much, and then all of a sudden if you lose your like all your funds. So that's something that account abstraction like kind of bridges, that you're able to have these custom key mechanisms and like custom signature verifications on your keys. Then gas abstraction. So in a general like transaction flow, like what happens is basically, let's say you buy an NFT, you go to OpenSea, you click like mint NFT or buy NFT, like your wallet and you as a user has to pay the gas for it. So like, for example, let's say talk about Netflix. Like for Netflix, you don't pay for every like video watch. You don't pay for what Netflix is paying to their servers, like be it Google Cloud or something. So why should like you pay for the blockchain aspects of the things? You as a user should just pay for the NFT, right? You should not pay for the cost of the system or the server in this case, which is the blockchain. So you can kind of abstract away the gas. You can like have mechanisms in place, which you already have with the gasless product. And in that way, like users don't have to pay for the gas. It's the dApp can sponsor for the gas for them. So user just has to sign a signature, and they can just like do the interactions effortlessly. Also, apart from gas abstraction, there's the concept of like paying in the, let's say, any ERC20 tokens. So let's say, for example, you're bridging some USDC from Ethereum to Polygon. Right now, you'll have to pay in ETH itself, because you're doing that bridge from ETH. And what if like you can pay in the USDC itself, like so you don't have to hold two currencies at one time to do like transfer of one funds. Let's say in a regular, let's say, bank transfer, if you're like moving like INR, like you just pay an extra slightly in INR. You just don't have to have, let's say, US dollar or something like that to pay for that single transaction in INR. So you can have those mechanisms with account abstraction in this, and they kind of help you like to pay in the ERC20 tokens itself. Also chain abstraction. So this is some concept that we are like building on. It's like around the chainless concept, that the user should not bother like which chain they are on. Like they should just relay, like sign their transactions and get what they want. But they should not have the complexity of like changing the RPC URLs, changing in MetaMask to go to a different network and like doing all those stuff into this. So in this way, like using account abstraction, we have kind of integrated in our SDK, along with like a few other features, let's say social login, integrated like fiat flows. So social login is something that is super useful. Let's say for a Web2 user, let's say they have no clue of what MetaMask is, no clue what Rainbow Wallet is. They just come on and kind of use the standard Gmail login and Facebook login, and they can have like the entire flow of account abstraction with them. Like they don't have to have like go to MetaMask, install that Chrome extension and all that stuff. And obviously, like fiat flows, like fiat integration, fiat on ramps is something that's kind of useful, because at sometimes you do want some, but nothing is free on blockchain. Like you still have to pay for at some point. Let's say maybe on Lens you have to pay 5 Matic to collect a post, for example. So at some point you have to, for some interaction, can be anything like minting an FT, you are paying maybe like 1 ETH. So all those flows are integrated directly into the SDK. Users don't have to go to a different exchange altogether, like and get like do that entire cumbersome process. So all that kind of happens inside the SDK itself. So like with all these features, like what we are aiming is that having like an ease of use experience for the user, so that they don't have to like go through the entire hassle. Like all is wrapped in one SDK, and they can like just interact with the app. Like they should not be doing anything else. Yeah, and some of the features that I might have already mentioned, at the heart of it, it's basically like kind of abstracting away like the account that we have, like that private key, public key pair, like it's too tied up right now. Like if you lose the private key, you lose the public key and the funds, and then like things get chaotic. Like you just can't recover it. Like if someone else has your private key, but in various like account abstraction ways, like you can have these key abstractions where first of all, like social signing, as I mentioned, anybody can come like from a Web2 world, use their email or any other social platform to log in, interact with that app. Second is like social recovery. Basically, you can have various people assigning your recovery to your account, let's say your close friends or any trusted person, so that even if you lose your private key, like you can still recover your account. So it's not loss of your entire like funds. And yeah, a lot of like custom signature schemes, some session keys, let's say for maybe like for some, you are playing a game and like it's a Web3 game and you have to keep like buying some assets in between the game, and you don't like want to spoil your gaming experience at all times, like by signing the transaction again and again. So for that, like session keys is super helpful, and where you give like some allowance for some duration, that okay, like for this duration I don't want to do signatures. Whatever happens, like I give authority to this session, during this session, to do certain things. So that's also like possible with account abstraction and like smart contract wallets. And yeah, now I'll, I think, go through one demo. Um, this is a like Hyphen SDK demo. We have integrated our like new Biconomy SDK in our Hyphen bridge. So in this flow, like what I'll do is kind of add liquidity to a pool. And one of the like cool features of our SDK is that we can batch transactions. So the way it works is basically that you don't have to do individual transactions. So in a usual flow, like what you'll have to do, you have to give approval to some contract of your token, and then do the actual transaction itself. Let's say approve and swap, and like approve and providing liquidity and all that stuff. Like those are two transactions, and it's like another like bad UX on the lines of bad UX. So what we do is like we basically batch those transactions. Those transactions go as one on chain, and they get executed simultaneously. So the user does not have to have two MetaMask pop-ups and have two different signatures and like go through the process again and again. So it's just one click that I'll show you guys. So I'll show two flows, like first of all with MetaMask, then with the social login. So what happens is like if I connect with my MetaMask, my eWay account gets connected to this website, and like I have a smart contract wallet already there for me. So either might be deployed or it will be deployed. But the cool thing is that the address of this is already known. You can deterministically find out what the address will be of a particular eWay, and by eWay I mean like your MetaMask address. So, but because I've already done this, so I'll show you my smart contract wallet first. So it will have some, like I've done some transactions, and like I have some USDC in it and some Matic in it. But the first flow that I'll show you guys is like paying, like doing this transaction, and in which I'll not pay with my native asset, which is the Matic. I will pay with the USDC itself. So let's say if I provide liquidity to this, and what will happen is that the contract interaction will start. There will be a signature that will be taken in this flow, because it's like a MetaMask flow, like you are familiar with signatures. And once like I give the signature to this, the transaction gets created by our SDK, and the transaction gets sent on chain by our relayers. So if you see, the transaction got confirmed pretty quickly, and it should be included soon. Yeah, so the transaction got confirmed, and I'll go through the transaction also. So what happened is, like, I added liquidity of 0.1 in this in one of the contracts, and I also paid for like this amount back to the relayer itself, which did my transaction on my behalf. So this is like a kind of a master account that kind of controls the relayer accounts. So this relayer executed my transaction. I didn't pay for any Matic. My Matic would still be the same. Like if I refresh, my Matic still remains the same, and it did not pay for it. The transaction got executed, and from my like USDC itself, it took like a slight more to compensate for the transaction itself. So this helps, like if you don't have any native asset, it would like it can deduct from this. So this was like what we call the forward flow. Now I'll show you like the gasless flow. In this, like I'll not pay at all. This is something that we enable by account abstraction and some paymasters, where a dApp can come in and sponsor their transactions. Let's say, for example, I have 0.1. Again, I supply this liquidity. And this will also have a similar flow, but in the transaction, like on the Explorer, you guys will see that it will not like deduct my USDC. It would rather like have some sponsored transaction mechanism where somebody else is, which in this case would be the dApp, paying for that transaction. Till the time, I think I can move on to the next set of like transaction flows. So this was like with my MetaMask. Like this is something for somebody who is familiar with MetaMask, who knows what a wallet is, what USDC, what all those features are. But let's say like someone like brand new comes to this world and they don't like know about MetaMask, they don't know anything about it. So what we can do is, like there's some social login flow that we can do. Yeah, but coming back to this, like in this flow, like I didn't pay for with my USDC. The Matic got refunded back to this relayer itself by some sponsor mechanism that we have running. So there is, in this account abstraction flow, there is this entry point and all those flows that kind of enable this. So these were like the two ways, like from MetaMask. And let me switch over to the other flow. Now let's say I connect with my Google account. So we have integrated Web3 Auth SDK to allow this, and I'll use my emails like to do this. So every email will have like one wallet deployed for me. And just a second. Yeah. So this wallet is already there, and first I'll show you it on my scan. So beforehand, I already added some USDC into it. I have zero Matic on this. I deployed this like an hour ago, and there is nothing in it, but still I'll be able to do like transactions. And the cool part is that I would not even have to sign in this flow. So there is more abstraction like in this flow, like where I don't have to like sign anything. In the previous flow I had to, but in this one I did not. So this is like, again, gases. I'll show just one flow. It will just like, I click this and on the back end, like in the SDK itself, like the Web3 auth SDK will handle my signing and all those features, because it's kind of aimed at the Web2 users not having to interact with all these complexities and everything. Hash got generated. So if you see, like, this transaction will eventually confirm, but in this entire flow, I just clicked one button, and in the entire process, like, this transaction got confirmed. If you see, like, multiple things are happening, some transfer happened, and I think some user operation also happened, and some approval is also happening in between. So all these got like 3 to 4 steps got into like one click. So, and like that's what, like, in our SDK, like, we are aiming to that, so that this ease of use is already there. So yeah, that's about it with the demo. I think now I can take some questions.
Yep. I can see 2 questions in the Q&A.
So yeah, the first is like, will the NFT transfer to your account? Yes, all the assets and all the interactions that happened in this entire flow, like be it minting NFT or whatever, like go to my smart account wallet, and like they reside over there. What is the difference between using Biconomy and Arcana? I am not familiar with Arcana. And to your second question, which is like, is Biconomy also using a blockchain for storing keys? No, like, we don't store any keys. All are like non-custodial, like the owner, like EOA account, which is like the user's MetaMask or whatever Rainbow account or wallet. They are the owners of the smart contract wallets. We don't like own anything in keys or anything. It's completely on the user. Like, we as such have no authority over or control over any of the wallets.
Right. Cool. Maybe folks, if you have any other questions, we can take one more question if you have. Oh, yeah. We have one question.
Just a second, let me reshare my screen. I didn't understand your question fully, but I'll still walk you through it. So this is my smart contract wallet. As such, there's a private key that gets generated by the social login flow, because I have done this social login. What happens is, like, your EOA account gets detected, and it deploys a smart contract wallet for you. So we batch that transaction also. So it's not an extra transaction. We kind of batch it in the first transaction itself. And let's say if you see, this is like my wallet itself. It has some Matic, it has some USD, and I am the owner of this. And if, let's say, for example, some other EOA account tries to do interaction with this, like, signature would not match because it's written like this is the owner in the smart contract code itself. So that's there. And like all the interactions, if you see, like, happen from the smart contract wallet itself. Like, so C9CV, and like this, the wallet itself pays for it. So the owner of the wallet, which by the way, like, contracts don't have any private keys, so they have like code controlling them. So the code tells them that, okay, this EOA account is the owner, and in this case, that EOA account is my MetaMask address or whatever address gets generated. If any DApp interface, then it would become centralized, like how things work in why the time is to pay. So it's not centralized in a way, because, like, let's say the reason why the DApp would pay for the user is for the ease of onboard. So let's, for example, let's say dApps don't pay for them. What does have to do? Like, they have to go on a centralized exchange. They have to get their KYC done. Hope that FTX kind of thing does not happen. They have to wait for their KYC like to get confirmed. Then they can buy some Matic, and it's still like that's a very centralized process, and like that's kind of a way to kind of abstract away from that. So we want that users not even have to hold their any Matic or ETH to do this. Is the SDK configuration related issue resolved? Yeah, I think the issues would be resolved. Like, if not, like, you can like raise an issue on the SDK branch itself. Like we are like actively looking into it, and any issues that come, like we reply to them.
Sounds good.
Cool.
All right. Yeah, I think that's it. So, folks, this is all about Biconomy, and there is a Biconomy channel on the Discord server for Eat for All. So, if you still have any questions, feel free to post it there. The Biconomy team will be there to sort of answer your questions. And Yash, once again, thanks a lot for taking out the time and helping out the builders here at Eat for All, understanding all about this.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Have a good day.
And for the audience, like we have the questionnaire ready for you. So I'm just going to push that in the chat. And yep, thanks a lot, Yash.
Bye. Bye, everyone.